silence on the road. Nights in the Vitebsk region don't thicken all at once. First the edges dissolve, then the smells wet shavings, gasoline, damp soil, and only then the sounds. In the hush you can hear, far off, the empty bus depot sigh. A girl on the shoulder pulls her thin scarf tight, and either shuffles to keep warm or to keep from listening to the dark. Somewhere nearby a brook chatters its glassy beads of pebbles. And then two lights slicing the night fabric like a paper knife. A red Zaz hovers to a stop exactly at the white line. The window lowers, the cabin breathes cheap cologne, and the warmth of a motor still holding heat. Need a lift? The voice is steady, unpushy, touched with fatigue. A door thunks. Night snaps its book shut behind them. Later, when the grass at the tree line lies in one neat direction, combed, like a child's hair smoothed before a performance, the silence fits itself back to shape, as if no one breathed here at all. This chronicle doesn't begin with a crime alone. It begins with trust in a face that didn't stick in memory, in a politeness that soothed, in a man who knew how to be one of us. And it won't end where stories usually put a period. Its ending is a long run of marks across paper, handwriting that never learned to hide itself. Part 1. The House Where Voices Spoke Softly. The village where he grew up smelled of lime wash in spring. People whitened everything: tree trunks, the lower walls, the stove. They whitewashed unneeded hope as well. A father who came home smelling of spirits and dust. A mother who could go silent faster than a hand could rise. A boy who hunched his shoulders and didn't cry. In children like that, the voice grows inward like a root. Silence outside. A thick, dull hum of resentment within. He learned the yard's arithmetic early. The louder one is right. If you keep quiet, you can't be seen. If you don't ask, you won't be hit. If you do things properly, you'll be left alone. He answered jeers in the dance hall with a smile stiff as solder. With girls, he retreated ahead of time. He practiced being not a silhouette, but its shadow. The plan for a proper life was simple, and he carried it out. Technical college, army service, brief, cut short by illness, back home, a job, and then that thin spot where glass usually cracks. Love. Awkward. Simple. Country love with more habit than heat. The engagement crumbled like a dry clay pot. The girl he thought his married someone else. Pride etymologically, a cousin to throat, seemed to take up residence in his neck. An official chronicle would preserve a phrase he tossed out later, almost offhand. Why should I choke myself over some woman? Better I choke a woman myself. In those words, grievance flipped into power. The noose shifted from his own neck to another's, like a man in a dark room moving a switch and mixing up where the light is and where the dark. Part 2. 1971. The Noose as Translation. Spring 1971. The path near the dakas smells of warmed earth and wet clotheslines. A young woman, skin bronzed from a southern trip, carries a bag. Shells clink in her purse. He stops her with a polite question. In such moments, even nature falls quiet, as if she, too, doesn't dare interfere. He ties his first loop with his hands, the way you cinch a grandfather's belt. Clumsy, jaw clenched to keep his fingers from trembling. Afterward, he smooths the grass a long time, packing a different meaning into the gesture, as if he's restoring a sight rather than breaking a life. And then, a strange relief, like inhaling after long suffocation. It got easier. That plain sentence will replay through many interrogations. That autumn, he still doesn't like ropes. They're tools, not yet language. On Vitebsk's edge, a girl tears free and bites his palm hard enough to draw blood. Teenagers, flashlights bobbing, run to her scream. The ligature stained with first-group blood gets thrown away. Doesn't fit the picture. Systems dislike objects that require long conversations. That same evening, he finds another no witnesses and finishes what he started, near the settlement of Ruba. The system sets 2 periods where 1 comma should be. Part 3, 1972-1975. Textbook of errors, textbook of power Lucchesa station rungs that smell of the hands that gripped them. In 1972, there will be 2 murders here. Investigators pick up 3 young men. One of them has a photo with a puppy convenient for someone else's logic. Confessions under pressure always sound the same. Text memorized in a foreign tongue. The court hands down terms: 15, 12, 2.5 years. Beautiful for statistics. Criminal for reality. Meanwhile, the real one walks the same streets and notices the tiny things again. Which scarf works best as a loop? How quickly September gets dark. Which bushes remember footsteps better? In one episode in 1975, he doesn't dare to strangle a second time and fishes a pair of scissors from the woman's bag. From that minute, a new facet appears in his ritual. He seems to crave a signature, that tight mark on the neck confirming, "I was here." He doesn't just kill, he seals. And after he combs the grass with care. Not remorse. A wish that the world should appear untroubled, as if nothing happened. Outer smoothness as an inner norm. Part 4, 1976-1980. A double life polished to a shine. He marries a shop assistant, warm and practical. Children arrive, 2 of them, their voices small and cozy. They move to Saloniki. Public life takes off. Commander of a volunteer patrol, Druzhina, cell secretary. In 1978, a party member. At work, he's the meticulous mechanic who fixes what others would throw away. He can build a fire, stitch a belt, listen well. In the courtyard, he's our guy. For the numbers, exemplary. For the night roads, terror. 4 murders along the Polotsk-Novopolotsk stretch in 3 years. Evening shifts become a lottery with no prize. Parents meet daughters at stops. Taxi drivers earn more. He feels his mask is working. The more upright by day, the easier by night. Contrast is his camouflage. Part 5, 1981-1984. The car as aquarium. The red ZZ968M smells of gasoline and old rubber. With the farm's roadside assistance car, he learns to pick up, not merely to spot. The road is an open-topped aquarium, headlight glare, faces in glass, thumbs raised at the shoulder. He glides up gently, speaks little, smiles. In 1981, 3 murders. In 1982, 5, a summer run thick as syrup. 1983, 1 episode, a short pause. In 1984, 12, the peak. In each, the same gardener's care for the scene. A noose at the neck, a calm on the face, an empty relief within. Cities freeze come evening. Music plays in club halls, but people dance less. Hospitals record odd abrasions in the lucky ones, not all the way. Kitchens whisper because it feels safer to explain why the daughter skipped the night shift again. Lights click off before news can arrive, and rumor feeds on darkness. The system keeps slicing the whole into parts. Random criminal, domestic conflict. Routine. Routine covers the outline of the beast. Part 6. The Chronicle of Those Who Sat Instead. This story isn't only about him. It's about those who became statistics for statistics' sake. 14 people, different ages, different faces, ended up where facts did not lead, only the need to close the plan. 1 man shot. Another went blind in prison. A third came out and stopped saying dates aloud, as if the words from that time had sharp edges. In those years, he sometimes sat in courtrooms as the community representative, the volunteer patroller, the upright citizen, and listened to confessions spoken by other mouths. That is a special form of power. To watch your crime be called by someone else's name. He pocketed the feeling like small change, tactile proof that the machine worked. Part 7. Patriots of Vitebsk. A bad play taken seriously. By mid-1985, a team of specialists brought in from outside did something simple and dangerous. They put the puzzle together. They merged cases, saw the same roads, the same loops, the same times of day. They grew interested in vehicles, a red Zaz, the service car. He sensed it the way animals scent rain, and scripted a new plot, letters to the newspaper from a supposed underground group, the Patriots of Vitebsk, ranting about vengeance and death to communists, a mash of hate and bad style. He wanted the hunt to turn ideological. He fed them a stage play. In the final murder that autumn, he stuffed a note in the victim's mouth, as if a director sure of applause. That was his mistake. Every play ends in letters, and letters lead to handwriting. Graphologists compare the newspaper letter and the inserted note. The same, they say. And one of the biggest handwriting sweeps begins. Hundreds of thousands of samples. At the same time, a list of ZZ owners, district officers tread their rounds. At a tidy mechanic's kitchen table, they ask for a brief written explanation, just for the record. The script starts speaking. It always speaks if you ask the right way. Part 8. December 1985. Suitcases, tickets, a quiet voice. He isn't at home. On vacation. Tickets to Odessa wait in his pocket. Suitcases are packed. They take him at relatives. In his flat, they find things that shouldn't be his. Small items that stab the memories of the relatives of the missing. During the first interrogations, he spins a tale about kidnappers who forced him to write. But physical evidence is more stubborn than any plot. 2 days later, he begins to talk differently, precisely, as if laying his tools back in order. Where, when, which not, why. The crime scene reenactments feel like guided tours through his memory's terrain. He likes the details, not because he repents, but because details let him re-inhabit power. It's like repair work, propping the wobbly bit with a screwdriver. Only now the wobble lives in the telling, and he props it well. Part 9. A broadened timeline. Before each date pause, important. Each date isn't a number, but a voice we're obliged to hear. 1971, May. A garden outside Polotsk. A young woman with a southern tan. The noose as a first tongue. October. Vitebsk outskirts. An attempted murder. A scream. Bobbing flashlights. Teeth in his palm. The ligature discarded. October. The settlement of Ruba. A second episode the same night where darkness doesn't know how to bear witness. 1972. Spring-summer. Duchessa Station. 2 murders. 3 youths confess. Paper smiles. Truth stays mute. 1973. 1 episode same route. Same hedgerows. 1975. 2 murders in the Polotsk district. In 1 scissors taken from the victim's bag. An improvised stamp. 1976. 1980. 4 murders along Polotsk-Novopolotsk. A variety of loops. Belt, scarf, kerchief. The ritual settles the way handwriting does. 1981, 3 murders. The car as a new stage. He learns to park into the light, so faces stay calm. 1982, 5 murders. A summer thick as molasses. Girls on the shoulder with bags. Road dust on their sleeves. 1983, 1 episode. A feigned respite. Pauses in his music merely make the next notes louder. 1984, 12. The Peak. Narrow forest strips, bus stops black with rain, far villages turning in early. 1985. 2 autumn murders. Pavlovici, Gamzelyovo. A note in the last victim's mouth-bad theater that turns into evidence. Total 36 proven murders, and 1 attempted. He would admit to more. In the shadows, perhaps others. Part 10. Psychological Portrait, a Deeper Cut. The noose as language and anesthetic. The forensic report will call it pronounced psychopathic traits, sexual perversions with elements of sadism. Sane. These terms are cold. Let's translate them warmer, to understand, not excuse. He met power before he met love. Power is when someone falls quiet because you raise your hand. Power is when, after the act, it gets easier. His eye could hear itself only when another fell silent. Finally, silent. The neck was his altar, the noose his prayer. The ritual organized his inner chaos. Rope, jerk, quiet, comb, the grass leaf. Repeating it fastened the sequence that let him breathe. The sexual is secondary. Control is primary. Sex is a fuse. Power is the charge. That's why he favored household knots. Belts, scarves, kerchiefs, objects of home, of normal. They let him feel not criminal, but craftsman. Fixed it. Thus the combed grass, too, returning the picture to earlier form so the world would agree with him. Risk factors visible in hindsight. A childhood where the sound of a blow was louder than a voice. Chronic isolation in which grievance fattens like a root vegetable. An early relational trauma. You were not the one chosen. The successful first enactment that cemented ache-act relief. Perfect social camouflage. Family, party, patrol, neatness, helpfulness, access to transport and literacy and police routines. A milieu that couldn't say serial, and so couldn't see the pattern. Part 11. Police and court errors, expanded with scenes. Ideological blindness. We don't have maniacs. It wasn't a lie so much as a wish. Cases were split apart, common traits ignored. The same loop, called coincidence. Manuals defined the maniac as a foreign bird. The fields harbored a native beast. The quota stick system. Clearance numbers mattered more than reality's map. Confession was queen, propping the whole card house. Pressure isn't always broken bones. It's more often broken days. Long talks, hints, promises, fatigue. People signed sentences that had none of their voice. Contempt for and destruction of physical evidence. A ligature with blood discarded. Awkward mismatches, ignored. Not mere mistakes. A systemic distrust of objects. Paper was more credible than rope. Mutual cover and soft landings. When the puzzle finally came together, many were held to account. Few truly paid. The system admitted excesses, not itself. For public memory, it sounds like the click of a light switch. The room still darker than it must be. And so, these are not only theses. Here are small scenes. Scene 1. Confession. A room with flowered curtains, a chair with a loose leg. A young man brought in to explain thinks he'll be out by lunch. A glass on the table holds tea long cold. The investigator's words aren't cruel. They're sticky. Come now. Why fight us? It'll be easier for everyone. Easier. He signs that word with someone else's hand. Scene 2. The ligature. The evidence storeroom smells like a school gym rubber and dust. A young officer asks, "What's this one for?" Doesn't match. Bin it. And a rope that could have spoken goes mute on a landfill heap. Scene 3. The courtroom. A community volunteer sits third row and nods the proper nods. He listens closely to the sentence the way a tuned ear attends to an unfamiliar engine. Where the rattle is, which bolt is loose. In the back, a woman covers her face. He stands, smooths his jacket, steps out into white daylight, smelling of milk and fresh bread. Part 12. Trial and sentence. Frost on glass. Minsk. Forensics. Sane. Trial from April to May 1987. He will speak at length and with pleasure precisely. Like a repairman describing the elusive nut. he finally found. Listeners note the evenness of his voice. Repentance is not a word that clings to him. His last words are empty. He doesn't seek clemency. The sentence death. The execution, a shot that urban legend makes louder than it is. Louder than the shot is the hush after it, into which names return. Part 13. Martyrology, as far as memory allows. The official record preserves few names. This, too, is a crime against memory. Some are known like the woman from that first May episode. Most remain unidentified. We won't invent names. We'll speak of them in the plural so statistics can't drape itself over people. Girls returning from shifts, women with bread and milk in their bags, those who trusted a car they'd seen at the neighbor's, those already nearly home. Their shared portrait isn't in police dossiers, but kitchen talk. She always called when she reached the stop. She had a red coat. She laughed loud. Mom told her, softer. Part 14. A city learning to speak. Vitebsk, Polotsk, lapel names that in the 1980s sounded like synonyms for order. Factories, quotas, school, daycare, the brick line. Yet evenings lowered an invisible curfew. Women formed handmade routes. Together felt safer. Men walked loved ones out and met them at stops like wartime. Courtyards hummed briefly, roll call style. Home yet? Home. When he was taken, the city didn't believe at first. Then it wanted to forget too quickly. Memory is stubborn. It hides, then surfaces in the oddest moment. For a long time, women at bus stops held a signature gesture of those years, a palm on a purse strap, as if that could help hold the world in place. Part 15. Case card in creative notes. So you can work this as material. Here's a creative map with facts woven to rhythm. Anchor images, the noose as language, from clumsy knot to handwriting. Combed grass, caretaking as mask. The red zaz, a road aquarium faces, raised fingers, an easy stop at the white line. The note in the mouth, a director's mistake that leads back to script. The courtroom, a volunteer in row 3 hearing victory in other people's words. Key shifts in tonality by years, 1971 to 1972, learning the language short, broken scenes, the smell of rope. 1976-1980, domestic smoothness, long daylight paragraphs, short nocturnal ones. 1981-1984, acceleration cutting between roads, lights, stops. 1985-1987, the lens tightens, handwriting, paper, interview rooms, courtroom hush. Counterpoint, the innocently convicted insert cameo monologues, before, during, after. In these voices is the salt that keeps this from becoming a story only about him. Part 16. What to do with a memory like this, an analytical afterword. Justice isn't only punishing the guilty. It's also dragging into the light the errors that let evil grow. From this story, instructions free of bureaucracy and full of duty. Don't split the obvious serial pattern. If time, place, method, and route match, that's not 4 coincidences, that's one design. Don't worship confession. A confession is merely a door. Behind it should stand a room of evidence, not an empty corridor. Don't throw out inconvenient objects. Ropes, notes, handwriting things speak if you don't gag them. Don't make the report the goal. The goal is reality. The report is an X-ray, not the world itself. Learn to hear the city. Rumors aren't evidence, but they point toward what paperwork is too lazy to face. Epilogue. Letter and shadow. It doesn't end in a gunshot. It ends in a letter. People change masks, cars, routes. The letter remains. Its slant betrays habit, its loops rhythm, its pressure character. He could have stayed silent forever, but handwriting always speaks. There's no conscience in it, but there is regularity. and sometimes that's enough to cut the dark. Those who sat instead deserve more than rehabilitation. They deserve to have their names spoken alongside the dead, a reminder. Evil works not only by a killer's hands, but by hands that fail to hear rightly. The city learned new habits, seeing people off, meeting them, saying, "Text me when you reach home." They look small, but they build walls better than concrete. Walls harder for silence to slip through. If there's a word of hope in this story, it isn't retribution. It's repair. The same carefulness he used to pat the grass, repurposed, carefully, unhurriedly, screw by screw, to fix our institutions and reflexes. So that one day night roads become just roads again, not an open aquarium where someone lowers a hand.